So my theory on why they hate Trump is twofold. Because they all love Trump, right? My whole life he was invited on every late night talk show. He was on the cover of every magazine. They gave him his own television show for 10 years. They gave him Emmy nominations. Every star from Hollywood came and bent the knee and called him Mr. Trump. They all golf together. Their kids are all best friends. They all go to each other's third and fourth weddings. They all got on jets and fuck kids together on Jeffrey Epstein's island. So why do they hate Trump now? Why? And my theory is they hate Trump now was because he ran on an anti-interventionist platform and won, and then actually was an anti-interventionist. He is the only president of my lifetime didn't start a war. And then he actually told the truth about our foreign policy. They asked him, why are you leaving troops in Syria? And he said, for the oil. And you can't do that because the whole world saw the president of the United States just give the game away of our foreign policy, which has been for the last 50 years, which was we invade smaller countries, we steal their natural resources, and we give it to Western companies. Do you agree that's why they hate Trump?
There's literally no question about it. I watched it happen. I mean, I knew Bill Kristol well. I worked for him for 5 years in the 90s. And I remember very, very well. It was the winter of 2016. Kristol didn't like Trump, but he didn't hate him. And he was writing about it all the time. And maybe there's a way we can work with Trump. Looks like he's going to be the nominee. And, we can do this. And I don't mean to single out Bill Kristol. He's obviously sort of sad old guy at this point, but he kind of represents the mindset of a lot of people in Washington, particularly in the foreign policy world. So that's exactly where he was until the night of the Republican primary debate in, I think it was Columbia, South Carolina.
Yes.
It was in Greenville, South Carolina in 2016. And that's the debate at which Trump said, said to Jeb, like, your brother lied and got us into war. And that war was a disaster, the Iraq War. Well, I'll never forget it as long as I live. And all the morons on TV, political reporting is the easiest kind of reporting, so it tends to draw lower IQ people and much more conventional people. And they're all like, "Oh, that's the end of his campaign." South Carolina has the highest percentage of military veterans of any state, and they're going to hate that. And I remember thinking, I think they'll probably love it. Like the guys whose lives were destroyed by these wars, who didn't see, went on 3 or 4 tours, didn't see their kids get divorced or got injured or killed. Like they know how pointless that was better than anyone else in the country. And of course, that was true. And he won the South Carolina primary. But the takeaway in Washington was this guy must be stopped. That's the red line. I didn't realize it at the time. I had no idea. I had a lot of theories about what the red line was, but I didn't realize that it was criticizing neocon foreign policy because I thought that foreign policy was completely discredited. I mean, I thought people like Liz Cheney or, all the Paul Wolfowitz, all the people who pushed that nonsense, Victoria Nuland, I thought that they were like in exile. I never imagined they would be back to run everything because their track record was just an unbroken chain of disasters that hurt our country. And I'm just way too literal, I guess. But it turned out not only were they back, they were never not back. They were always in charge. And Trump, that's the thing he did. And they have never forgiven him for it. When he questioned NATO, why do we have NATO? And I thought, man, why do we have NATO? I still don't know the answer. Of course, to cause untold mischief around the world, to degrade our power, drain our treasury, kill people. I mean, NATO is indefensible as currently constituted. But when he said that, then they were like, I thought they might assassinate him for saying that. You can't criticize NATO. What if the Soviets invade Germany? It's like so demented.
With cheap gas.
What if they?
with cheap gas and pretty women. Woo!
I never forget after that debate, I was watching the talking heads afterwards, and Charles Krautheimer said that Trump's campaign is over because you can't go against the Iraq war. And I was like, are you nuts? People are cheering in the streets for him saying that. And of course, I mean, that's the kind of exactly what you said. I couldn't believe Charles. I'm like, wow, I knew he was a shill for the establishment. That was like over the top. That was amazing. So now, but
they all believed it. That was the thing. It was so bad.
Yeah.
David Frum still goes on Bill Maher and gets quoted by Sam Harris. David Frum.
So let me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yes. So let me, Bill
He
Maher.
gets quoted.
Bill,
Harris.
Yeah, we played a clip of it.
Bill Maher just the other night.
Trump violated norms, Tucker.
There's international norms, Trucker. You can't violate the norms. And and Bill Maher still is under the impression that Ukraine has only lost 70,000 soldiers.
Average age 43. They only had 70,000 young men in the whole country.
That's it.
And they're gone.
So they've lost hundreds of thousands.